Okay, welcome back to the Detective Gomez Radio Show. Sitting to my right here is attorney Mark Meisinger.
Meisinger.
Meisinger, there you go. Okay, so you have been, you're a criminal attorney, right?
Yes.
Okay, and you've been practicing law for over 7 years.
Yep.
Okay.
I was licensed on 555.
Okay, and you defend clients in DWIs, criminal activities, all types of things, right?
All criminal defense, but most of it is DWIs and drug offenses.
DWI, you specialize in DWIs and drug offenses.
Yes.
Now it's one thing to defend a client, but it's one thing to turn around and you be your own client.
Yep.
And this is the reason why we have them here, ladies and gentlemen, is because if you know you're innocent about something, you got to fight to the end to prove your innocence, no matter what it takes. And Mark, you have a story here where you actually went through something yourself.
Yep.
That personally, and you're going to kind of give us a shorter version of what happened to you,
okay,
and what you had to do to clear your name.
Well, it all started just over 2 years ago. I was the designated driver for my car, and I was taking somebody out for their birthday, and we were down on Greenville, and we left, and I bumped the car in front of me, and the girl was really erratic, started yelling and screaming. We pull up to this gas station, and her and her boyfriend start reaching in my car. I said, you can't be reaching in my car. I got my concealed handgun with me. And she turned around, called the cops, and said I pointed a gun at him. And the police came on the scene and arrested me without even asking me. The people in my car said that I'd only said I had a gun, but that didn't even make it into the police report. And what ended up happening is he did a quick eye test on me and threw a DWI on top of it. They pretty much, I went down to loose stereo, had to bond out just like anybody else, and then I had to fight this case, that I knew I wasn't guilty of. I filed the complaint on the cop, and then there started being pieces of the tapes that were missing when I got them. The prosecutors really got behind this, and I thought, that they wouldn't do something, especially to somebody that does this for a living. Right. But if they'll do it to me, they'll do it to anybody. And
let me ask you a question. Did they charge you with deadly conduct or aggravated assault?
It was deadly conduct because they didn't say that I had done anything.
Threatened them.
Yeah, threatened them.
They're saying you pointed them. So if you point a gun at somebody, it's deadly conduct, unless you actually say I'm going to shoot your ass.
It depends on what you say.
Right.
So I was charged with the deadly conduct. I didn't even know that I was charged with that until I filed the complaint on the cop. And then they said these people said you pointed a gun at me. I was just dumbfounded. Right. I was like, no way. And then how I saved myself is right away I went down to that gas station and got that video, and he wouldn't give it to me unless I was law enforcement. And I said, you will see today I'm going to be back with a subpoena. Right. And I went down, knew my judge, got a subpoena issued, told the state, you can watch it as soon as I get it, and so they called him and told him, and I went and got that, and that ended up being what saved me, because the whole thing was on video. But when the detective made their video, they cut out the view that showed the whole thing.
So they edited it out.
It didn't help their case, so they got rid of the parts that showed I didn't do it. But I got it on my own, and that didn't come out till trial. When all of a sudden they play this video, and I'm like, where's the other half of this video? And then I play it. And it was just...
So the video you subpoenaed was completely different than the police department's video.
There was two different angles of the cameras, and one of them panned and didn't show anything, and one of them was right on us. And the one that was right on us showed the whole thing, but they got rid of that too. That's what, it's so important to get somebody on this fast, and when you have, especially when you're innocent, because those are the hardest cases. Right. I mean, my hardest clients are the ones that are truly innocent, because they don't want to deal. They don't want to take it. They're saying, I didn't do this. And it's hard to prove that you didn't do something. I mean, right now I could say, how did you flipped me off? How are you going to prove you didn't do it unless we got a video? Right. That's the only way you can really do it. It's my word against yours.
There's video cameras everywhere now. And I think the key thing that you said, you got to react fast to this, because you went down, and usually those camera videos only last like 30 days.
They'll get rid of them. So
you immediately went to a judge, got a subpoena, and said, look, man, get a damn video.
And I also said I wanted the 911 tape. And so, because I knew there would be something on there where she changed her story or said something, and you could hear her say, he's about to pull a gun, he did pull, and he's about to. She changed it back and forth. And so you could catch that inconsistency even right off top. And then on the video, you can hear me and the guy still talking about insurance. Right. And it's like, are you kidding me? If I would have pulled a gun, we're still sitting here talking about insurance.
You would have felt threatened.
Yeah,
and you're not threatened anymore.
Then they stood behind my car and blocked me and everything. They just wanted to have me arrested. Right. And I just didn't think that the DA's office would get behind him as hard as they did, but they did, and it all came out. I got a 1 minute not guilty from a jury,
wow.
which is, that's not even supposed to happen in the legal system. You know, you can have 1 minute guilties because they're but if it's that bad, they shouldn't even go be with this case. They should stand up and dismiss it. Like
so you asked for a jury trial. And and how long did it take for you to get to court after you were charged with the deadly conduct? A Class A misdemeanor?
It's a Class A.
A Class A, and then the DWI is a Class B. Class B, right?
Yep.
So you're looking at 2 high misdemeanors, basically.
Yep. And the first judge knew me, so she recused herself. So I had to wait even more to get this trial, and it took. I split them up. The DWI trial was exactly 2 years from the day it happened, which was 9/24.
Wow.
So I just got I just got my not guilty on the DWI.
Congrats! I can just, by the way, when you mentioned dates, obviously this is something that affected your life forever.
I tell my clients all the time about you're just going to have to deal with this. Time's on your side, and I mean, I can put myself in their shoes, but I can really, really put myself in their shoes, and it's not fair. And you don't even get anything once you're done with this. It's not like you win something or anything else. It's just like I finally got you to stop. Right. On this whole thing that was just crazy from the beginning.
And it all depends how it's written up. But I hate to say this, but the police department, once they write it up a certain way, there's not a whole lot of people that are going to go back and change a report. It's there.
Oh yeah, I put a video on your Facebook there that kind of says don't talk to the police, and it's like a 50 minute video from a law professor and a detective that for 20, 30 years or whatever, and they say, we're not here to find out what the truth is. We're here to make an easy to prosecute case. Right. And so anything that doesn't show that they did it, that's not stuff we're interested in. Your lawyer can go figure that out. Right. We're looking for things that are easy to prosecute, and just by going and talking to the police, they can say you falsely confessed. And if you don't have a recorder or something with you, now it's your word against not only the people that said you did it, but also the officer who said you confessed when you didn't do it. So there's all types of things to take into consideration when talking to the police, and so it's never a good idea.
Yeah, especially at the scene of a crime, especially when you're being accused of it.
Yeah, they didn't even ask me, but later on the detectives called me, and I told them, go watch the video and then call me back. And so what they did was they made a bad video, and at that point I knew that they were doing nothing to help me. It was just about focusing on me.
Well, and the other thing is they also had 2 witnesses saying he pointed a gun at us, and you having a concealed handgun license. You go, oh yeah, he probably did, and now he's saying he didn't.
Well, that was the training officer said. I was like, well, what evidence do you have? He said, well, that you had a gun. I said, well, I had a CHL. What other evidence? Yeah. That's it. I had 3 people with me that said I didn't do it, but because in his mind,
they were in the same car.
You had the gun. Somebody said you had it. That's as much probable cause, I guess, as they need. But they didn't even ask me if I'd done it, and that would have been. I would think if it was a good investigation, that would at least ask you if you did it. But during my trial, the prosecutor pointed the gun at me, my gun. So now, now we're going to deal with
make an offense against him.
She's standing right in front of a sign that says, if you knowingly point a gun at somebody, whether it's loaded or not, it's deadly conduct. That's right. And she's standing in front of it, pointing it at me in the court. I think she's going to be charged with this now. But
I would turn. Yeah, because the DA's office isn't perfect. I know that through my personal things myself and some friends of mine. And the police department isn't perfect, and everyone's human here, and they make mistakes. But sometimes it's harder for them to admit that once they're charged somebody with a crime.
Well, this officer in this last trial, I said, now, how many other innocent people have you arrested besides me? And he said, I don't arrest innocent people, and I've made 800 arrests. I said, so if juries find people innocent, you still think they're guilty if you made the arrest? And he said, yeah. And then the judge shook her head. But it's
totally blew my mind, right? It's just crazy to just accuse something you didn't do, and you have to fight for it.
Even a 1 minute not guilty, and he still thinks you're guilty. If he made the arrest, it doesn't matter. And that is just, it only takes probable cause to have you arrested. Right. It's beyond a reasonable doubt to have you convicted. There's going to be some stuff in there somewhere that, has to get worked out. But for people to say, even if juries find you innocent, even if a judge says, we still think you're guilty. And that's crazy.
And that's why,
it's like a witch hunt.
And it's important to have good representation.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to hire an attorney to defend yourself. If you can't do it yourself, find money, hire an attorney. And I would consider hiring Mark here because he's been through something. He's been a victim of his own, own occupation, so to speak.
I have the empathy. I can put myself right in your shoes.
I mean, if you know you're innocent, know you haven't done something. Now, if you got 20 kilos in the back of your trunk, that's different. Okay, but even then, if somebody put it there, that's different.
You still need damage control,
right? So, but still, if you know you've done something, you've been innocently accused of something, you've got to fight to clear your name. Because if you get charged with a felony, like say a felony, you lose your right to vote. You lose your right to bear arms.
You have to stand up for your right, I guess.
I couldn't even renew my concealed handgun license because of this pending charges. So I have to go through it all again. I had to have my car towed. I've had to bond out. All this stuff, because somebody made something up, and I mean it wasn't investigated right. So I mean that's enough to get you in the system. And I mean, I stand on in my trial actually at the very end. I mean, and I've got there's the picture of like the people reaching in the car. You can look at it too. But I had that. That's the video that they got rid of. Right. So that was on that video. But in my last, I took the stand at the end, and I basically had already known I'd won, but now I said, I think I deserve the right to speak. I've done everything I can. I got no help from anybody. If I wasn't sitting here doing this, and if I didn't have my attorney, who knows? If I had the money to bond out, I would have sat there and probably pled guilty to something I didn't do, which has happened to a lot of people in this country. You get a couple people make something on you, and the next thing you know, you're sitting in this spot. And I looked at the jury and I said, I hope none of you are ever here. But if you are, this is what you're going to have to do. It's sad, but hopefully I can get some justice at the end of this, and you're my only hope.
So did you hire the attorney to represent you, or you represent yourself?
I had another attorney that I officed with help me out on the first trial because there was going to be a jury selection and closing arguments and our witnesses. So I had him do the beginning of it, and then I did all the cross-examinations of the state's witnesses. So I pretty much beat their case, but he's painted the picture, was the narrator for that one. And right after I got done with this, he says, pass the witness, and the questions from the state, and they had none. So, I mean, here I am on the stand, a defendant, saying, I didn't do it, and your chance to question me, and they don't have any questions.
They had no questions for you at all.
And then they're going to go into closing argument.
Crazy.
And that's the DA's office. Okay, I'll tell you what, we're going to go to a song right now. We're going to come right back on the Detective Gomez radio show, and Mark's going to tell you how to get a hold of him if you should need him. He's got a little surprise he's going to put on her in a few seconds on the Detective Gomez radio show. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Detective Gomez Radio Show. Mark here has put on his not guilty shirt in celebration of him winning both of his cases through the Dallas DA's office. The first was a deadly conduct that was dropped, right?
No, that was the not guilty from a jury in 1
minute.
So
you got not guilty for that also, and you got not guilty from the DWI.
Yep.
You had to go to trial of both of those cases.
On both of them.
To prove your innocence.
Yep.
2 years later.
It took that long to get there.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I think Mark can agree with this. You've got to get good representation, and I cannot think of anybody better right now, because if you've been through it, then you know how your clients come to you and how they feel, especially if they know they're innocently being charged with something.
It's definitely important to get somebody that you feel comfortable with. That I hear a lot of people tell me, I can't ever get a hold of my lawyer. He never talks to me. I don't know what he's doing on my case or anything. Mm-hmm. And that's not what you need. You need somebody that you go, hey, I know this guy's going after it, especially if you're saying, there's evidence out there that you need to get. They need to be doing that. I mean, there's not an investigator that's trying to help you unless you go get them. Right. Unless you get your private investigator or your attorney or whoever else gets out there to do it. There's nobody else. Nobody else is on your side. Right. To put it mildly, but these shirts I had made a few years ago, and I never thought that they were going to be for me. I was giving, I'd give them out to everybody, and on the second day of trial, I realized I had one in the bag. And once the trial was over, I thanked the jury really nicely, and then the people that said I did this ran out of the courtroom. There was probably 150 people in there. It was packed. The judge said she'd never seen people standing on a defendant's side when they didn't want to sit on the prosecutor's side. So there was actually people standing, which was pretty cool. That was, I'll always remember that. But putting on the shirt when I was done was a way of me saying, I'm tired of being looked at like a defendant when I didn't do anything. And instead of saying it and
Right.
being unprofessional. To me, that was
You could have been very unprofessional and say some very harsh words like "sorry, mofos."
I could have said, F the DA's office.
Yeah.
I mean,
but you handled it the right way because you do have to go back there again and
yeah,
defend
I have
clients.
to work there, and it's motivated me a lot. It's made me renew my passion for what I do, and they know that I'm the type of person that's going to stand up. I'm not going to be bullied, and if it's sticking up for somebody else, or if, I guess myself in this case, but that's what I do. I don't get bullied, and I like having, I love my job. I'm about, the greatness and the peace of mind, not the money.
Because there are a lot of attorneys sometimes they go, well, I can get you pleaded out. Well, I don't want to get pleaded out. I'm innocent.
Yeah, I don't, when somebody tells you they're innocent, that's not something to plead out. The only thing I guess to tell you that has to be taken into account sometimes is the cost of the trial.
Right.
And if it's not worth it to somebody, it's not worth it. Right. I mean, I don't have a trial fee, so for me, it wasn't an issue. But a lot of people, that is an issue. It's like, they're willing to knock this down to a Class C ticket, or you can go to trial and pay, maybe $5,000 for a trial. Right. And you'll win or maybe you won't, but so a lot of people just decide to do that. I mean, on DWIs they don't offer that, right? So those would be on different type of cases. But
okay, well, Mark, how do we get a hold of you? How do we get a hold of you? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
I'm online. I'm on Facebook. My number is 214-906-3006. Again, 214-906-3006. My last name is spelled Meisinger, Meisinger. And I'm all over, I have a website, I'm on Facebook. Okay. There's lots of ways to get a hold of me. I'm pretty easy to talk to, and if anybody's got any issues, I'd love to help them out.
Okay, so he's here to help you out, especially in any kind of criminal offenses, but specialized in DWIs and drug cases. And 214-906.
3006.
And if you deserve a not guilty plea, then you'll be wearing one of these T-shirts just like Mark. Okay?
I'll mix the world. I'll even give you a not guilty.
He's got plenty of T-shirts to give away. So if you think you're a victim, please contact an attorney. Get representation. Get good representation. I mean, there's so many lawyers to pick from, but I think that there's nothing better than having an attorney that's actually been through something himself, and he was a victim. He's going to definitely stand up for you, especially if you're right, and fight for you all the way till the end.
Well, thank you.
An amazing story. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, one thing, Mark, for being here today. We'll come right back on the Detective Gomez radio show and we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, bring your ass on in here. I got something for you. Busted, it's 2 damn o'clock in the morning. Where you been?